Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Maricel, and in today's video I'm gonna share with you our K1 visa application timeline pandemic edition. Kamusta kayo? How is everyone going? So originally I'm from the Visayas, so I speak Cebuana or Visayan. I can also speak Tagalog, so in my entire video I may speak different languages, so please bear with me. Alright, so to start with, I believe that everyone's path may be a little different and each step even more unique, but we can all experience the same success at the end of the day. Do you agree? Alright, so please bear with me because I have here a codex and reference in the screen, so I keep on staring here and there. So please bear with me for that. Now, I have prepared a short overview about the K1 Fiancée Visa Petition process. Are you ready? So there are two people involved in this process, the petitioner and the beneficiary. So what is the difference between these two? So with all USCIS petitions, the person who submits the petition is called the petitioner. So that's your fiancé from the United States. And the relative on whose behalf the petition is made is called the beneficiary. So you from the Philippines is the beneficiary. So I hope that is clear to you. So this is the K1 Fiancé Visa Petition process overview that I've made. So the first requirement is the foreign partner must live outside of the United States, okay? And be legally free and able to marry. You, couple, must have met in person within the last 2 years and not have been convicted of serious crimes. Okay? So once you qualify this, you can already file the I-129 petition for fiancé. I have uploaded a video on how to assemble the packets. So if you go to my channel, it's right here. Okay? And so in our case, on February 10, 2020, we had our first meeting there in the Philippines. And on February 24th, the I-129 packet petition for fiancé was sent to the USCIS. So what we did, while we were in the Philippines together, we had to collate all the requirements for the packet for the petition for fiancé. We assembled it, so when my partner came back to the United States, he submitted the packet to the USCIS 2 days from when he arrived back in the United States. So on February 26th, the packet was received by the USCIS. Then after the packet received by the USCIS, we received a Notice of Action 1 or NOA 1 that's called I-797 form. And it was sent through email to my partner there in the United States. So from there, the USCIS approved the application and forwarded the original visa petition to the Department of State National Visa Center or NVC. So if all of your requirements submitted and there's no lacking information submitted to the USCIS, you will get approved and it will be forwarded to the National Visa Center. So you will have to make sure that all of the requirements are submitted, all of the proofs of your relationship, so that you won't get an RFE. Because in this phase, you can get an RFE if there is an additional information needed from them and it will delay the process. Now, on September 10, the NVC received our packet from the USCIS. Okay, so the took us from Feb to September, March, April, May, June, July, August, 7 months. That took us 7 months to receive the NOA2 or Notice of Action 2 from the National Visa Center. So September 15, we received the Notice of Action 2 from the NVC or Form I-797C. So in this phase, the NVC process all approved fiancé petitions, and the processing time takes ages. Usually before the pandemic, it should be completed within 2 or 4 weeks after receiving the petition from the USCIS. But now, ang tagal. So, the NVC will now create a case record with your petition information. In our case, we had to call the NVC to get our Manila case number. So 2 weeks after we received the NOA2, we contacted the National Visa Center to get the Manila case number. Once you already have the Manila case number, that's the time that you can track the case status online. I will make a separate video on this, on how to track your Manila case status online. So these are the case statuses that you can see if you track your case number or Manila case number. So at NVC, that means that the NVC is still checking your original petition. And in our case, we had to wait ages again before the packet forwarded to Manila Embassy. Our case status was still stuck at NVC. We need to wait until the case gets in transit. It means that this is the time that the NVC is forwarding the packet to the Manila US Embassy. So it will appear as in transit status if you track the case online. Once the US Embassy received it, the case status will change to ready. And you, the beneficiary, will receive a welcome letter from the US Embassy through mail with instruction on what to do next, which is to make appointment for an interview. So here, in transit, then change to ready once the US Embassy received your packet. Now, if you won't receive the welcome letter through mail or email, that is fine. You can go ahead and make appointments. I will make sure that I can make a separate video on how to make interview and medical appointment online. All right. So you can't have your interview at the US Embassy not unless you'll pass the medical exam at St. Luke's Medical Center. So basically, to give you an idea, the medical exam has more to do in your physicalities. So there would be an eye checkup, psychiatric questions, and x-ray. And the scariest part is the x-ray test or x-ray exam. So I had my medical appointment at St. Luke's on April 12th, and I also got my appointment interview, which was supposed to be on April 28th. So K1 interviews are only done every Thursday of the week. So I had to do it ASAP as soon as I saw that my case was ready, because the date of availability easily gets filled up. I was so unlucky that my medical exam did not go well, because there was something wrong with my x-ray. They said that there's something wrong with my x-ray. So I had to undergo sputum collection for 3 days. That was on May 3 to 5, 2022. So again, another waiting time. The results of that sputum collection took 8 weeks. So I had to cancel my USM interview, my US Embassy interview. Okay, so I will also make a separate video on that if that would happen to you too, because it is a separate or special process for those applicants or patients that needs to undergo sputum collection. Okay, so I will make another video for how to deal with sputum. It was so scary, really scary, but I did it, thank God. And I went back to SLEC, or the St. Luke's, for immunization on July 5th. And finally, everything went well that time. So July 7th was my interview at the U.S. Embassy. So I will make a separate video too about the U.S. Embassy interview and the requirements that you need to bring. And it took me how many days? July 7th and July 13th. So that's 11 days. I mean, how many days? 6 days? Yeah, 6 days. 6 days to receive my visa. I picked up my visa at Mall of Asia. So I just stayed in Manila and waited my visa. And I got my CFO counseling and certification on July 14th. Once you receive your visa, you can already make an appointment for CFO. I'll make a separate video on this too. And once you have your CFO certification, you can now fly bound to the USA. So July 16th, this took only 1 day. So the next day was my flight to the USA. I arrived here July 16th and finally reunited with my fiancé and now my husband. So that's it. So that's the story and the timeline process. A total of 2 years and 5 months of waiting. It was not that easy. Really was not that easy. But because love conquers all, we did it by the grace of God. So, and for sure you will too. I'm very sure you can do it. I will make a separate videos for more detailed info of each phase of the process if needed. And please ask. Okay, leave your comment below if you need further clarification. I will try my best to answer each of them. Okay, but you know what? It didn't end there. The journey continues when you arrived in the United States. Don't forget to subscribe. I will make more videos and see you on my next videos. Thank you.